Most fishing gear reviews are just hype, but is spending more actually catching you more fish? I've spent months testing everything from featherlight carbon finesse reels to heavy-duty ocean winches to find out which ones actually hold up. Today, I'm giving you the unfiltered truth on the top 5 reels of 2026. Whether you're a mountain hiker or a deep-sea angler, let's find the one that fits your style. Number 5. DAIWA Reel SWEEPFIRE CS. I've been tossing this DAIWA SWEEPFIRE in the back of my truck for a few months now, and honestly, it's been a solid little workhorse for those spontaneous trips to the pond. You're not getting high-end luxury here, but for a casual afternoon, it just works. I've mostly used it for basic lure casting, and the best part is I don't feel like I have to baby it. I really love how rarely the line tangles. It saves so much time when you just want to fish, not untie knots. On the flip side, it definitely feels a bit plasticky when you're reeling in a heavier catch. You can almost feel the frame flex under the pressure. If you're just starting out or need a reliable backup for the kids, this is a total win. But if you're chasing monsters every single weekend, you'll want something tougher. Number 4. HAUT LS Carbon Reel. I used to dread the big production of getting my gear ready for a quick hour at the lake after work. Lugging around those chunky metallic reels made the whole thing feel like a chore I didn't always have the energy for. Last Tuesday, I finally swapped my old setup for the HAUT LS. The first thing I noticed when I snapped it onto the rod was how the balance shifted. It's made of carbon fiber, so it basically weighs next to nothing. Casting felt more like a subtle flick of the wrist than a full arm movement. I spent the evening chasing panfish, and the retrieve was so fluid I actually forgot I was using such an affordable piece of kit. It isn't perfect though. Because it's so airy and thin, I found myself being extra careful whenever I set my rod down. It doesn't have that built like a tank durability, and I'm pretty sure a bad drop on a gravel path would be the end of it. Still, if you want a setup that disappears in your hand and makes a long day on the water feel effortless, this is the one. It's perfect for anyone tired of heavy, clunky equipment. Number 3. MIFINE Feeder Fishing Reel. Have you ever felt like you're fighting your own equipment just as much as the fish? I had that exact thought last Sunday while trying to pull a heavy bait feeder back through a fast-moving section of the river. My usual gear felt like it was straining, so I switched over to the feeder Confident. It's built for those specific moments where you need raw power rather than speed. Because it has a lower gear ratio, it acts like a winch. It doesn't struggle or grind when there's a heavy load on the other end. The aluminum body gives it a solid, grounded feel that you just don't get with plastic reels. The trade-off, however, is that this thing is heavy. After a few hours, you definitely notice the weight in your wrist. And if you're someone who likes to retrieve quickly, you'll find yourself spinning the handle quite a bit just to get your line back in. If you're a stationary angler who likes to set the rod down and wait for a big carp or catfish to bite, this is a reliable workhorse. But if you're planning to walk the bank and cast lures all afternoon, your arm will probably regret it by sunset.
Number 2. Rooblinos NGK Fishing Reel. Too many anglers are obsessed with lightweight gear, but I've learned the hard way that when you're staring down a deep-sea monster, light usually just means broken. After putting this Rooblinos through its paces, I've realized it's the perfect antidote to flimsy equipment. It's a massive piece of hardware that feels like it was forged for a fight. The sheer line capacity is where it really wins. Having nearly 800 meters of line at your disposal gives you a massive safety net when a fish decides to run for the horizon. Between the stainless steel core and that rigid aluminum build, it handles the brutal tension of saltwater fishing without any of the terrifying flex you get from cheaper reels. That said, the weight is a serious reality check. Carrying nearly 2 pounds of metal on the end of your arm is no joke. If your style involves constant casting and retrieving, you'll find it clunky and exhausting pretty quickly. It's a specialized tool, not a daily driver. If your plan is to drop bait from a boat or launch a line from a pier and wait for a heavy hitter, you won't find a tougher value. Just leave the finesse fishing to the smaller kits. Number 1. Seasir Mansory Baitcasting Reel. I spent yesterday afternoon at a quiet creek testing the Seasir. At 146 grams, it is practically weightless. You forget you're holding a reel until a fish strikes. The 2 included spools change everything. I used the shallow spool for throwing micro lures and swapped to the universal one when I moved toward deeper water. It's a rare level of versatility. The drag clicker is another highlight. It provides a crisp, mechanical sound that tells you exactly how the fish is moving. However, the carbon fiber build requires a gentle hand. It lacks the rugged, tank-like feel of a heavy metal reel. You have to be careful not to knock it against rocks. This is for the technical angler who values finesse and hates wrist fatigue. It isn't for those who treat their gear roughly or fish in heavy, abrasive cover. It's a precision instrument for the thoughtful fisherman.
Look, at the end of the day, the right reel is just the one that gets you out on the water more often. Hopefully these breakdowns helped you figure out which one actually fits the way you fish. I've dropped the links to all 5 in the description if you want to check out the current pricing or the full specs for yourself. If you've got questions about how they handle specific conditions, just shout in the comments and I'll help you out. Tight lines, everyone. Catch you in the next one.